Hello, and welcome to Podcast Wizardry, avoiding the common mistakes of podcasting in this 4-week program. Hello, my name's Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com and Talking with the Experts. This program is very comprehensive, and I've made sure that I've included almost everything that you need to know in starting your own podcast. And week 1 is the most involved week of all. It'll take up a lot of your time, unfortunately, but there is a lot to learn about podcasting. There are a lot of steps that you need to go through to get your podcast launched. It's not just as easy as sitting in front of a camera and a microphone and just going hell for leather. There are things that you need to know, and there are questions that you should be asking yourself, should you really be starting your podcast? And we'll learn the 5 reasons that you should be having your podcast, and we'll learn what they are and if you fit into that category. We'll be also learning the 5 steps to a successful podcast, and we'll be discussing legal considerations to keep your podcast streaming. We'll also create some podcast cover art. We'll find and apply to a podcast channel host, how to use your RSS feed and what that is, and what equipment do you really need. There's the nice to have equipment, and then there's the stuff that's really necessary, and we'll look at a range of those things. There's also, should you have a guest, and being a great host so that you can avoid walkouts and the do's and don'ts of hosting a great podcast. And then we'll learn about the 10 common podcasting mistakes that most podcasters make in the beginning and how you can fix those. In week 2, we'll be looking at finding your perfect guest, and we'll register on a couple of platforms to do that. We'll also formulate a guest form, and this makes it easy for you to have the information about your guest at hand when that you're interviewing them, whether you want to read from that form or you want to memorize it. That's totally up to you, but it's always a good something to have. We'll also learn about audio transcription and a couple of services that you can use. I prefer to use one over another only because I pay a monthly subscription and it does it automatically when I'm using Zoom. We'll discuss how you can engage your audience. How do you get your guests to promote your episodes, podcast distribution, and the stats monitoring. So it's really important to know how your podcast is faring in the open market, considering there's about 2.3 million podcasts in the world at the moment. In week 3, we'll be discussing podcast production. So that will entail podcast editing, some ad placement, why it's important, and we'll also have a practical exercise where I will invite you to create some videos for an intro, a mid-roll ad, and an outro, and why these things are important to have on your podcast if you're using video or audio. And week 4, you finally reach the end. It's the final steps. And in this week, we'll look at how to establish yourself as an authority, and we'll also discuss how being a perfect guest on someone else's podcast is good for your business. And we'll learn some steps and some strategies on how to be a great guest. And then we'll have the program review at towards the end of week 4. Wow, that's a lot of content, isn't it? But it's comprehensive, as I said in the beginning. You will learn a lot. I look forward to discussing and all of these subjects with you. I just wanted to let you know as well that the format of this program is a little bit different to how most programs are run. I will be having a Q&A on a Friday afternoon, but the video content will be actually included in the workbooks. I will not be having separate videos. I just find that everything's all in one place. You don't actually need to download a video and a workbook or several workbooks or worksheets. It's all included in one area. So I hope you enjoy that format, and I would love to hear your comments at the end of the program to let me know if it's a good way to go. So good luck and welcome.